Welcome back to the Real Texas Radio Podcast with your host, Bronin. Thank you for tuning in once again. Or if you're joining the show for the first time, 1,000 welcomes. Please, if you have not already, given the show a like, a follow, a comment from any of the big streaming apps. If you could do so, it makes a huge difference for my independent, volunteer, fledgling organization that I am trying to grow and keep doing a better job for the public as a citizen watchdog here in Dallas. And if you don't follow me on X at RTR_Bronin, RTR_Bronin, I encourage you to do so. I just posted a montage of a collection of video of Lina Hidalgo, the county judge in Harris County, being a complete psychopath in her usual mental patient fashion. And that has gone viral as I record, over 36,000 views of that video.
And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything.
Well, I'm not right about everything. I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely recommend that you check out that video and follow me on X. And, I'm on Substack as well, bronin.substack.com. You can read my columns. I'm putting out a few every month. They are totally free to read. They're short. They're 3 minutes or so. They got lots of video and photos accompanying the text. And you can sign up for those by email. You can get them straight to your inbox as well, my columns. So today's marquee story, it's going to be the monumental, the stratospheric latest debacle embarrassment of the Harris County judge Lina Hidalgo at the Houston Rodeo last week, and the fallout from that. That's going to be the big story. And first, I'm going to get to another couple of local items. I've got one in Dallas I want to talk about, maybe two in Dallas, a little bit of City Hall email drama follow-up, and a weird Jasmine Crockett related story, a police murder kind of a story related to Jasmine Crockett I'm going to get into, as well as just the latest nutty action considered by the Austin City Council. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, now, you're listening to the Real Texas Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Bronin, just a fed-up taxpayer bringing you all of your Texas, local, and national news. All right, first, let's talk about Jasmine Crockett, who, as you know, she just lost the primary for the Democrat nomination for the U.S. Senate. Thank God she's still in the Congress until the beginning of 2027, unfortunately. But very weird situation happened in Dallas at the Children's Hospital, or just outside of the Children's Hospital over in the medical district. Just a few days ago, I'm going to read to you this story. This is the AP story. A fugitive who worked security for Representative Jasmine Crockett was shot dead by police in Dallas this week, according to a report published by CBS News on Friday. So this was, I think, Thursday or very early morning Friday last week. Law enforcement sources told CBS News Texas that a man going by the name of Mike King, who was wanted by authorities, was killed after a standoff with Dallas police SWAT officers. King reportedly drove to a parking garage and barricaded himself inside a vehicle. Police said King was forced out by tear gas before pulling a gun on officers. King reportedly used several aliases and had a business called Off-Duty Police Services, which put police officers in moonlighting jobs. Sources said King was wanted for impersonating a police officer and had claimed to be on the force while running his business. Officials have not released his real name. Can you believe Jasmine Crockett would have hired somebody and done business with somebody impersonating a police officer who would then get himself involved in a standoff with the Dallas SWAT officers.
That we know how to use it, Sheriff. Whether we pulling it up or we doing something else with it.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that somebody like this would be affiliated with Jasmine Crockett. What a blunder. All right. So keeping things moving along. While we're on the subject of Dallas, I don't really have any updates on Dallas City Hall. It's still just the latest fiasco, the latest embarrassment in Dallas, complete lack of transparency. And apparently 5,000 emails were obtained through an open records request. Adam Basildua, council member District 7, got these emails. He has publicized some of the contents, or released a summary, I guess, of some of the emails. The Dallas Morning News has got their hands on these emails, and one of their columnists, and they haven't really been releasing very much. I don't know what they're gearing up to publish, and so I'm recording on Saturday. Maybe Sunday they're gonna have a big story out, a big bomb, and I'll have to wait for the next episode to discuss it. But as of right now, they did publish somewhat of a hit piece, a soft hit piece on Mayor Johnson, claiming that he was not responsive to CEOs, including some of the leadership at Scotiabank, which just relocated to Dallas, by the way, and that he didn't attend some meetings. And apparently this was supposed to be a damning story, just proving once again that the Dallas mayor, Eric Johnson, is checked out. But it didn't have much of a punch. Even some of the other Democrat mainstream media have to agree on that. I put out a column on Mayor Johnson, which you can check out, bronin.substack.com, titled "The Democrats Are Right, Mayor Eric Johnson is checked out." If you want to check that out, I think that was a harder hitting piece with more evidence than just not attending a couple of meetings. I'm sure he's invited to every meeting under the sun going on in Dallas. So, and Wolanski, again, one of the columnists at the Dallas Morning News, he allegedly has got these emails and hasn't written anything about it. And I saw another Democrat a press outlet complaining, oh, well, maybe they're just saving up the good stuff. Maybe they're just sitting on all the good stuff and they just haven't released it yet. They're gonna build us up for the good stuff. I'm not a journalism major. I'm not a reporter, so I guess I don't know 100% how that all works. But is that how it works? If you're a trained veteran journalist, you have all this good stuff and you just sit on it, and you let everybody know that you've got all this great material, and then you don't write about it or you don't expose it. I don't know. That doesn't seem like what you would be doing if you really had some good stuff. But again, we'll see what drops on Sunday, if anything. Okay. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to just mention briefly Austin, Texas, the city council there. And you know the city council is terrible. They're all far left Democrats. They tried to shove a $100 million property tax hike down homeowners' throats last year at the ballot box. Failed miserably in the process. Over 60% of Austin voters, they said absolutely hell no. And now it's just come out, I mentioned it in my previous episode, it's just come out that close to, I think, $300 million worth of consulting, which was, much of it wasn't tracked, wasn't measured in terms of success or hitting targets or goals or providing worth for the taxpayers of Austin. Nearly $300 million spent on consultants between 2023 and 2025. And a complete disgrace, that report coming out via audit just a few months after Austin complained of not having enough money to deal with the homeless, junkie bum, criminal vagrant, mental patient, ne'er-do-well, recidivist, reprobate, underclass, completely undeserving of taxpayer-funded charity, which has just exploded in Austin in terms of millions or tens of millions of dollars already allocated to that incorrigible, feckless group. Just as homeless budgets have exploded in every other city pretty much in the United States, and the only thing that it has succeeded in doing is getting more homeless people. But I digress. I brought up the Austin City Council because now, after finding out that they're spending these hundreds of millions of dollars on consulting and not tracking it, and including, I think I saw $57,000 budgeted for staff to take personality tests or something like that. One of the Austin Watchdog accounts on X tweeted that out, and I reshared it again, X, RTR_Bronin, RTR_Bronin. So now they are mulling, they want to ban masks. Yes, that's right. You heard me correctly. The Austin City Council, and they're not the first as of late to think of this, they want to ban masks because of the ICE agents. That's really the genesis of this. ICE agents cover their faces because you've got these left-wing psychos, the Karens on steroids, and other psychotropic medication who are going around and exposing, doxing these people. And it's funny. Well, it's infuriating in the bigger sense, but it's funny that this is the 6th anniversary, almost to the day, of the COVID hoax, farce, nonsense, scam. When I'm not going to rehash all of the foolishness and the authoritarianism that the Democrats delighted in inflicting upon us. And the mask was the greatest symbol. If you didn't wear a mask, you were a POS, you were a grandmother and nurse killer, you didn't give a bleep about your neighbor, you didn't give a bleep about your community. If you didn't wear a mask, it meant that you were a MAGA, Trump Republican, a total piece of crap, basically.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
And now, without even a modicum, without a scintilla of appreciation for irony, you've got these Democrats, the Austin City Council, elsewhere as well. I think at Los Angeles, all these Democrats. This is the latest, the latest in the craziest policy. They want to ban masks. Just 4 years ago, they wanted to put you in jail if you didn't wear a mask. And they wanted to get you fired from your job, canceled from society if you didn't wear a mask. And now you've got law enforcement. And by the way, if you ever see law enforcement in Mexico, especially any of them who are dealing with drug dealers and dealing with the cartels, their faces are all covered for protection because they would be killed. Because they would be vulnerable and their families would be vulnerable, their loved ones, if their identities were revealed to the public. And ICE, and I know that the media likes to pretend, just like they like to pretend that homeless people are all single mothers who are just raising future valedictorians out of their minivans. They like to pretend that all of the arrests that ICE are making, it's grandmothers and young children and accidentally American citizens who they're just targeting because they have brown skin. I know that's what the media tells you, when in fact they are deporting, arresting the worst of the worst of the worst. And the American citizens, obviously on welfare and SNAP and don't work and have all the time in the world, I guess, to go following police and law enforcement around. So that's why they wear a mask. That's why they wear a mask. Oh, actually, this is a cut. I meant to play this several weeks ago. I'm not even sure where this is taking place. I'm assuming somewhere in the Midwest or the Northeast. I see snow. This is a Karen who's following around a couple of ICE agents. And just listen to the exchange here.
How does it feel to be a race trader?
You know, we were trying to get a child molester, right?
No, you weren't.
Yes, we were.
Oh, and so she's calling... This is the Hispanic ICE agent, who, by the way, who she's filming, this Karen. He's in a mask, and she's calling him a race traitor. This white lady is calling the Hispanic law enforcement officer a race traitor. So let's just take stock of that.
How would you know?
Because it was a woman you talked to.
His wife?
And then his plate came back as murder.
I was going to say, calling someone a race traitor,
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a white
incredible.
woman.
Of course,
And
it is.
just so you know,
And so now, this is now the partner of the Hispanic ICE agent. This is a white ICE agent, also wearing a mask, and also it appears is possibly a homosexual. Don't have total confirmation on that, but possibly.
And works for a gay CIA Fed.
Well, I guess if you're an ICE agent and you're gay, then you are a gay Fed. Okay, let me get back to this exchange.
this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look?
No, trust me.
When you guys
It
are-
is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that, trust me. No, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying this, trying to be a social warrior. If you actually cared, you probably would care about the child who got raped and also the person who got murdered by the person that we were looking for. But see, you don't care.
No, I don't care because you guys
Thank
tried.
you. Thank you.
Just try to detain legal immigrants. None of you actually give a shit.
Really?
If you were
Cursing. Sorry about that. Family show here. Yeah, of course, the Karen, Democrat, unemployed on SNAP and welfare and all of that, who's just following around ICE agents. Of course, she's got a potty mouth too. So I'll end it there. Okay, we're going to move on to the marquee segment of the show, Lina Hidalgo. You know, I just did a Lina Hidalgo show about 1 month ago. I think almost a month ago to the day. I had no idea that I was going to be doing another Lina Hidalgo show. Lina Hidalgo, the county judge of Harris County, the third largest county in the United States. She's a complete mental patient. She is completely incompetent. She is a total embarrassment. She is the most unlikable politician in the state of Texas. And last week, she got herself booted from the Houston Rodeo, which is a huge event. It's almost like the State Fair of Texas. I think it's fair to liken those events. She had tickets to a certain area, I think a suite. So I'm not sure what a suite looks like at the Houston Rodeo, but she had tickets to the suite with several guests, and that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted to have the premium seats that cost $425 each, and she had spent the previous 3 nights, she'd gotten the primo seats with guests. And she tried to get into the primo area again. There were a number of large acts, including Creed, which a lot of people have forgotten about Creed, but 25 years ago or so, they were huge. They performed at a Super Bowl over 20 years ago. And there were a few. Shabuzi was also there. The Houston Rodeo gets huge acts. J Balvin and Lina Hidalgo. She embarrassed herself so bad. Not only did she get thrown out, but then she immediately went on the offensive and tried to blame the rodeo officials for being in the wrong. And I'm just going to go ahead and just play the audio here. It's not the best quality. I've also tweeted it out at RTR_Bronin. But I'm going to just play. This is in the moment, Lina Hidalgo getting kicked out, or right after getting kicked out, for being completely obnoxious and so self-entitled.
I'm missing the show with my wife to deal with this, so let me be real clear. You didn't have a ticket tonight. And when I got a message today from some security person that said you're coming the next 5 nights with up to 5 people.
Well, no, I'm not coming anymore.
Are you going to let me finish now? Can I finish or not?
You heard they manhandled me, so are you saying that's okay?
I don't have any proof of that.
Oh, I'm gonna get you some proof. Let me ask some of the people what they saw. No. Why are you gonna grab me again? I'm asking them what they saw. Are you gonna grab? Look at this. Look at this.
being manhandled.
She just said I could go get proof. You're not letting me get proof of the fact that they pushed me.
We are going to call this now. You're going to leave.
You're gonna leave. He wants proof that you pushed me.
And I will let him push you.
Yes, you did. And so if you want, you're not letting me go get the proof. Are you letting me walk to get the proof?
Can you
Yes or
pause
no?
and let me say something?
Yes or no?
Can you pause and let me say something?
Yeah.
The only person here that's got accelerated energy right now and pointing fingers at people and acting disrespectful is you.
That's fine.
You're the only one.
Okay. I'm gonna.
So
You know
everyone
what?
else is
I'm
being
gonna
mature
whisper.
about it.
Your people pushed me and grabbed me.
You
said, do you have proof? I said, let me go that way. You said, let me go that way. Yes, but then why are you guys blocking my...
Okay, let me just pause right there. So Lina Hidalgo, she posts this audio on her social media, blows this up into a huge, embarrassing event for herself. She really should have taken a beat and not posted this. And this could have, if not completely gone away, she could have mitigated the fallout. But she embarrassed herself so bad. Now, one of the top Republicans in the state of Texas, Tim Battencourt, he's one of the top Republicans in the state Senate. And he is now called for her to resign. She's got less than 1 year left in her term, and she's not running for re-election, which I've talked about. And I think that she is done in elected politics. I just don't see how this woman has a path forward. And this story, it has just dominated the news in Texas, specifically in Houston and Harris County, for really the last week. And I'll toot my own horn a little bit here, but for the first time ever, I put together a montage of different clips of Lina Hidalgo being a total mental patient. And I posted that on X at RTR_Bronin, RTR_Bronin. I encourage you to check it out. I put all the video and the audio together, and it went viral on X. It's gotten over 36,000 views as I record the episode. And it was all clips that I've seen over the last few years of Lina Hidalgo. And I wanted to make sure I could put them all together so everybody could see the amalgamation of all of her mental instability. And Tom Battencourt there, I mentioned the one of the top Republicans in the state, he liked the video, and I'm not saying that it's because of me that he put the statement out calling on her to resign, but he's from Harris County, and the county judge is a serious position. You're in charge of emergency and disaster management, and we know that Houston, it's hurricane prone, it's flood prone, and as long as I've lived in Texas, going on 11 years now, there have been at least several significant floods, and you've got a mental patient at the helm of the county.
I know nothing about her. I think she's sick, mentally sick.
And it's really scary, honestly. It's really scary to think that your livelihood is in this woman's hands. So let me just go ahead. I'm going to read at least a little bit of the statement that the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo released. This is signed by the chairwoman of the board, Pat Mann Phillips, and president and CEO Chris Bowman. Judge Lina Hidalgo has attended the 2026 Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo on 3 occasions prior to March 10th. March 10th was when all of this shenanigans went down. Each time with wristbands provided by the rodeo for her and her guests to watch from the chute seats. In total, and the chute or the chute seats, those are the premium seats. In total, 21 tickets were provided to her across those visits, including for the J Balvin and Luke Bryan concerts, with a total value of close to $9,000. $200,000. This is a woman who makes over $200,000 a year. She blows another $1 million a year on taxpayer-funded security, personal security for herself. She goes on junkets to Paris. And now you get to pay for her $9,000 for her and her guests to be wards of the Houston Rodeo and go to some of the top acts, some of the top touring acts in the country. You get to pay for her not to just attend, but to sit on the floor, basically, or the dirt, they call it. The floor seats.
Resting more. I went on vacation. I went to all these cool concerts. At some point, I found myself swimming among these beautiful fish in Thailand and resting more.
Yeah, that was a puff piece interview that CBS did with Lina Hidalgo a few years ago, where they let her talk about her therapy and her mental health. And can you imagine a Republican getting that kind of treatment? Of course not. You can't. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to read a little bit more of this statement. Shoot seats are among the most premium experiences at Rodeo Houston, with tickets priced at approximately $425 each. Many guests purchase these seats specifically for the opportunity to be close to the action on the dirt and enjoy a special evening at the rodeo. We have paying guests who invest in that experience, and our volunteers and staff work hard to ensure those guests receive what they paid for. Tickets at any level have not been requested by any other elected official in Houston or Harris County this year. On March 10th, we received information that the judge wanted to attend the Megan Maroney concert along with Creed, Chris Stapleton, and Shabuzi concerts, all on the dirt. Because the Megan Maroney concert was sold out and she'd already had shoot seats several times prior, we had multiple conversations with members of her team and the Houston County Sports and Convention Cooperation, informing them that she did not have wristbands and was not authorized to access the dirt or shoot area that evening. She was aware of this prior to arriving and did not have the required wristbands to enter the area. Well, I mean, she's special. You know, she's better than you. She's better than us. So she thinks that she's entitled to the primo treatment. So then she gets the boot. She has to leave March 10th. The next day, March 11th, she goes back to the rodeo, which she just said, I'm not coming anymore. Well, she went back the next day because she wanted to get the security footage for that was going to prove that she was the one who was in the right and that the Houston Rodeo officials, the security team, they were the aggressors, that it was all their fault. She was going to get the proof. And so she goes back, and then the press is outside waiting for her. They want to hear what Lina Hidalgo found. So here she is, Lina Hidalgo, and sorry, it's not the best audio quality. It's outside. But this is her explaining what she found.
Anyway, I hope they do that so we can make sure a situation like this doesn't happen again. Obviously, the kids were indeed escorted out, etc. And they did not have any footage of the suite, so you can't see the kids being taken out of their seats. And so I really appreciate the community members who also requested transparency. I think at this point, we've done all we can do, and I hope that we can move forward from this, or I sure plan to. So just wishing people to stay safe and enjoy the rodeo.
Judge Hidalgo, do you feel like that this has caused a distraction from the focus of what the rodeo is and for Harris County residents?
So I really wanted to read my statement based on myself, but I'd rather not take questions. So let me, plus I'm really late. So anyway, but I appreciate you guys.
Just really quickly, how quickly did it escalate to you being physically touched after they simply asked you to leave?
It's hard to tell. Like, you're looking at the timestamps, you know.
What a scoundrel she is. What a total scoundrel. And then she keeps bringing up the children. Oh, I was with children. And the children, the children were thrown out of the chute seats.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Oh, so on Thursday, that's when the Harris County commissioners are going to be meeting again, and Tom Ramsey, he's the only Republican who was on the commissioners court. And even though the rest of the Democrats, so it's 80% Democrat votes when you include Lina Hidalgo being the fifth vote. But she is so bad and so loathed and so hated by definitely the other two Hispanic Democrats, Adrian Garcia. Oops, let me get this cut queued up here. Today, wow, I really could use a producer today. I have so much sound, and I'm just trying to keep track of it all here. But Adrian Garcia and Leslie Briones, they hate her. They just think that she is such a fool. They run circles around her. They love to humiliate her in public, as if Lina Hidalgo needs any help on the humiliation front. She does a phenomenal job of doing that herself. So here is Tom Ramsey. He sat down with the Fox affiliate in Harris County, and he's giving us a little bit of a preview, a little bit of a taste of what's going to be coming up later this week.
This Thursday, there's going to be a lot of talk about the county judge and the incident at the rodeo. Unfortunately, that is a lot of talk going on, and we shouldn't, at Commissioner's Court, play like nothing happened. So I put on the agenda a resolution to celebrate the rodeo because of all the harm that she's done in the last week in terms of inferring outrageous things, bad things about the rodeo. So on one hand, Thursday, we're going to celebrate the rodeo. On Thursday, we're going to talk about the incredible benefits, the community joy that's brought to us every year by the rodeo. We're going to do that. But we're also not going to ignore the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about a problem. We got a problem in Harris County. If you don't think we've got a problem, just talk to the people that live here. So we're going to talk about it on Thursday, as we should. In open court, we're going to have this conversation. At least that's my plan, to have an open conversation about the problem. Will she be asked to resign, or do you not know yet? We'll see.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. There's very little appointment TV these days, but I would say that the Harris County Commissioners meeting, which you can watch live if you go to the website, you can stream the meeting live. You can also catch the recording. But I would say that's something that you want to tune in for. And, you know, just kind of looking at where my listeners are and followers of the show, strangely enough, most of my listeners are actually outside of Texas. I do have listeners in the Houston area in Harris County. So thank you so much. I appreciate listeners from wherever you are tuning in. And I'm glad if you're outside of the state of Texas, you're interested in the state. But if you're outside of the state of Texas and you think Texas, like, oh, it's this red state, this solid red, voted Donald Trump for president 3 times in 3 back-to-back elections. And then you've got this total psychopathic Democrat in office, this complete mental patient who was elected not once but twice. And when I tweeted out that video montage, which again, I strongly encourage you to go and take a look at that. And a lot of the people in the comments wrote that, or reminded us that she was a down ballot vote. She was first elected when Beto O'Rourke was, I think, running for governor at that time, challenging or was he challenging Ted Cruz? Maybe he was challenging Ted Cruz. I'm getting mixed up here. And he was the closest to, in terms of the vote count between a Democrat and a Republican statewide for a long time in Texas, and for the longest time since. No other Democrat going statewide for any office has been able to get that close to what Beto O'Rourke got, even though he lost by well over 100,000 votes. So a lot of people think that Lina Hidalgo, a Columbia national, by the way, that she just benefited as a down ballot Democrat, and that's how she got in the first place. But then she won re-election. So, you know, voters, you got to take some responsibility here. I know it's a blue county, obviously, Harris County, and Dallas makes plenty of terrible decisions. Just look at the DA's race here, Amber Givens, who's been reprimanded by the State Bar of Texas or Ethics Commission for all kinds of terrible wrongdoing, including jailing citizens when she was recused from their case and handing over court proceedings to her court clerk or court magistrate, or not magistrate, court clerk or coordinator, and had the coordinator just impersonate her as the judge over Zoom with the camera off, while Amber Givens, the newly elected Dallas County DA, while she was on the phone getting her Cadillac repossessed. And of course, Lina Hidalgo, I mean, this is just a whole nother level. I mean, county judge, she's not really a judge. She's basically like the mayor of the county. But, you know, I always say, and I'll remind you again, you can want to get rid of the horrible trash that you have in the office. You got a really bad politician and you vote them out. Unfortunately, in these Democrat cities, it usually gets worse. Usually you are replacing the bad, or you're replacing the worse with even more horrible. That's very sad, but that's just the reality of Democrat politics. You're usually getting much worse. So you got to keep that in mind. It's most likely, I don't know if her antics are enough to sway voters to elect a Republican county judge, who would still, then it's just going to be Ramsey and the judge if there was a Republican judge elected in Harris County. And I'm not keeping up with that race very often. I know a little bit more about the Democrats. It looks like Anise Parker, the former Houston mayor, I think she is the front runner in the race. It's probably gone to a runoff. There were a ton of Democrat candidates, I believe, who were vying for the county judge seat because it's great pay. It's great pay. It's a big office, and I just it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, Lina Hidalgo. And before the meeting on Thursday, the Harris County Commissioners Court meeting, I'm definitely going to post. I think I'm posting this episode on Monday, so maybe I'll pair. I'll try to get that out today. As you're listening to the show, I'm actually recording it on Saturday, the 14th. But I've put together a part 2, another montage of Lina Hidalgo just being a complete mental patient. I don't have any commentary in any of these videos. It's literally just her. It's just clips of Lina Hidalgo's own words and actions in public forum. It's completely her. So you can be the judge for your, no pun intended, you can be the judge of the judge. So I'm going to get that out, and we'll see if I can make it go viral again. But I really want Texans to see what happens when you're focused more on national politics, which you have much little chance to influence, but your local politicians who have a lot more power over your life and over your property taxes, as Lina Hidalgo does. That's where you need to put your focus and make sure that you are electing qualified candidates who are going to be good stewards of your money, and somebody who's going to be competent to keep you safe in the event of a flood or a hurricane, which is very likely if you live in Harris County in Houston, Texas. Okay, I think this is probably a good place to wrap it up. I might get another episode out by the end of the week. Maybe we'll be talking about what's going on in Dallas. I definitely plan to pull cuts. Hopefully there's some juicy stuff coming out of the commissioners meeting in Harris County on Thursday. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that for sure. But if you haven't already, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow the Real Texas Radio podcast from wherever you stream. I'm on all the major streaming apps, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and follow the show on X. I'm always trying to make sure I am tweeting out the video to accompany the audio that I play. If you want to see the video as well, at RTR_Bronin, RTR_Bronin on X. And I will catch you on the next episode of the Real Texas Radio Podcast.